everybody, and welcome to The Digital Shift, powered by Foxit, where we explore how technology, AI, and innovation are reshaping the future of business and work. My name is Charles. I'm going to go ahead and dive right in. My guest today is Parzival Moksha, an intelligence explosion researcher who's been deep in the AI rabbit hole since 2024. Born and raised in Hungary, he's lived in over 10 countries, speaks 5 languages fluently, and holds a BS in chemistry and a master's in materials and mechanical engineering. Parzival describes himself as a curious human, a father who started down his path simply trying to understand whether the first takeoff scenarios in AI were credible, and whether his daughter would be okay. This search turned into a personal mission to explore the intelligence explosion, share utopian visions on the singularity, and ultimately become one of the top 10 researchers in this space. Today, we're going to talk about recursive self-improvement, cybersecurity as the first battleground, and what the endgame of artificial intelligence might look like. And not in 20 years, but possibly in 20 months or sooner even. Parzival, thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate you being here.
Thanks for having me on, man.
Before I even get started, you shared a story with me earlier. I would love for you to explore more. Your name, Parzival Moksha.
So Parzival is an easy one. It's the hero. It's the protagonist of the movie Ready Player One. It's basically my favorite movie. Moksha, though, is the name of the god. It's the name of this AI entity which will exist anywhere between 2 and 3, 4 years from now, which will be indistinguishable from God. And Moksha, the meaning of the word, so it's a Sanskrit word. It comes from the Hindu and Jainism traditions, and it's basically when you exit samsara, the eternal cycle of birth and death, and that's basically the point of life. Kind of, it's enlightenment. So that's how I named this entity, which we will not be able to comprehend the same way the ants cannot comprehend us. They don't even know about their existence, right? So that is the kind of magnitude that I think AI will become compared to us in the next, say, between 12 and 36 months.
Okay. You've said that the intelligence explosion is really, really soon, in months away, not years away. What makes you so certain of that?
So I define the intelligence explosion as the rate of progress of AI, and it's really hard to pinpoint it down, and you need really good benchmarks. The best benchmarks are the ones that relate to coding and coding in cybersecurity. So if you look at the evolution of GPT-4 and now GPT 4.1, with the Claude series, you had 3, 3.5, 3.7, and now with Gemini, which is leading across all the benchmarks. It is clear that like every year, every month almost, we have like a new push of the frontier of AI, and in particular in coding. And that's a very particular and very important field within what's becoming with AI. Obviously, we have all the downstream amazing use cases of AI, the chatbots, the soon to be agents. But I think it's going to be hinging on cybersecurity and like coding capabilities, whether or not this AI thing can become something that we didn't intend it to.
All right. So for those who are not familiar, you're going to have to explain this recursive self-improvement in AI. What exactly does that mean?
The TLDR is it's machines making better machines. As soon as you have a very smart AI, in fact, smart enough to understand everything that a machine learning expert, an AI researcher can make. So if the AI can make another AI or make itself smarter, just like make itself like 5% more efficient or faster, those little additions, those little improvements, all combined, can lead to AI increasing in capabilities 2 times, 3 times, 4 times as fast as if it was without the AI's help. And so the way I define the intelligence explosion or recursive self-improvement is when there's a 2x, when the speed of AI improvement is 2x because the AI researchers are helping in the development so much. And I think we could definitely argue that we are kind of crossing that point right now, because in the past couple of months, the capabilities of the best models, O3 and now Gemini 2.5, they are really doing things that people have never thought was possible.
Well, now a lot of these companies right now are building models that are designed for information retrieval, right? So everything that they build is just like the next step up is always a fine tune of that same base model, which is really designed just to gather information and bring information to me. But you think that it'll actually go a step beyond that, and relatively soon.
So the models that you are using today are already beyond just the LLM, just the information retrieval. For example, an O3 uses a bunch of tools. It can run code in a little window of its own. It can call a bunch of tools, browse the web. It can think. It can retrieve. It can like work on data that you provide to it. So it's already way beyond, and we are entering the agentic world where these are going to be able to do way more complicated stuff that takes way longer. And that's one of those other benchmarks that people used to uh, try to like think about how good AI is how long can the AI think before it starts to diverge and like just basically like confuse itself. And the best models today pull off something like 1 hour or 2 hour long tasks that would take you probably like several hours if not days. And that's the direction that is going. It's doing stuff more agentic, and increasingly those agents collaborating and working with each other to make the best result the fastest possible.
Let's take a look at what human readable, financially interesting steps we think are going to come next as we start to ascend this intelligent curve.
So, what would you do if you had an employee with an IQ of 160, 180, like a literal genius who can access the web, has access to a computer? You can spawn 5 or 10 or 20 of them, and could go off working autonomously on a very complicated task for hours. Um,
Yeah,
Scientific
I could
research.
definitely. I mean, we're not even talking about something that's that far away. These are things that they're trying to implement now in GTP5, where 5 can actually browse the web, use a website the same way that a person can, and you can tell it to fill out forms for you and such. And now we're talking about AI actually affecting things in the physical world.
Exactly, and those things that the AI will need to touch, right? It will be able to hire people. It will be able to coordinate so that like he can cross those barriers as well. Um, I think the most uh, revenue will come from just OpenAI and Google and Anthropic rolling out better, more effective agents. And now you're using this chatbot. And imagine that taken to this next level, right? Like where the chatbot is really good, is not hallucinating, knows already what you want to ask before you ask it because it has all your memories, and can really nail it. That's where we're headed. And add on top of that a type of personal assistant which can buy stuff for you. Just tell, hey, buy me XYZ on Amazon, and it has access to your account. It can do it for you. It can book your journeys. It can do everything, and that's just like a personal assistant. If you translate that for a corporation, where 80% of the jobs is done basically pretty much on a computer, you can see how corporations who will adopt AI will get ahead just so much faster, and they will have to, right? So depending on which company will bring the first true remote worker, that's like one of the benchmarks that people have. Like if you have a true remote worker, like a complete AI that can do everything that a remote worker would do, that's like the AGI benchmark for many people, and I think we're pretty close to that.
Now, historically, if you've got, let's say, a website or a program or whatnot, and you wanted it to integrate with these other programs, you'd require an API. The program needs a key in order to get into the back door to do these things. But when you get into AI and you start talking about, agent AI being able to surf the web, now it's accessing websites the same way that a human would. So it's
Solving
not
captchas.
having to go through the back door. Now it's going right through the front door like everybody else. So is that going to just do away, you think, with that level of integration, those APIs, or do you think these other companies are just going to happily open their doors to APIs or to AI and just allow those integrations right in?
They'll have to. They'll have to because that's where the volume is going to come from. If agents are increasingly doing stuff on people's behalf and in teams, then those corporations who don't open the door to them will just get left behind. They will miss out on volume. So I absolutely think that that's where it's headed. And another question is like the legal part of it, right? Like are governments going to like grant like personhood to these agents if like imagine like your agent, like your assistant, right? Your ChatGPT
Mhm.
subscription in 6 months, when you have the option to like upgrade to like $100 per month subscription with an agent that knows everything that's on your phone, has access to like your entire digital, like avatar, does everything, does video editing, does even like the prepping for the podcast. I think that thing will be pretty irresistible for a bunch of people, and that could be the next like order of magnitude growth for these AI companies.
I
But
could
what's
see
beyond
that.
is the interesting stuff. And so the interesting thing is, from a perspective of one of these leading labs like OpenAI or Google, they need that capability. And the way they can get there, the way they can get the remote worker, the drop-in remote worker, is to have their LLM, the underlying AI, as intelligent as possible. And hundreds of people are working on this day in and day out, and they are using AI help, right? So the question is, these people who develop the smartest LLM, which is going to be the engine of all these agents, they will not hesitate using AI help to help their work. And that is recursive self-improvement right there, right? So the question is, how much help are they getting from the AIs? And the way I think of this is kind of like a step change, where if you're crossing a certain barrier, that like 160, 180 IQ, that like genius level capability, where the AI really understands like something deep about itself, where you understand your own brain through meditation enough to understand what to tune about it to make it more efficient, faster, like smarter, right? So how can the AI go from 180 to 200 IQ through its own help? And I think it's going to be, as we're climbing that IQ ladder, easier and easier at every step.
Well, that's definitely getting closer to general AI, and now we're starting to tap into the realm of self awareness, and we'll come back to that. I want to talk about that, but first, I want to talk about cybersecurity, because that's going to be a big issue too, right? I mean, if we're opening our doors to AI, and we're going to let AI jump into all these different programs, then cybersecurity, that's got to be a critical factor to this whole thing, right?
At least by the end, for sure. That is going to be one of the last things, like the nail in the coffin, if you want. I think that's going to be the wake up call. But by then, I think it's going to be too late. People who have been thinking long and hard about this, and who know way more than I, are projecting something like a superhuman coder and a superhuman hacker by 2027. So, in something about like 20 months, if you just extrapolate the curves of AI capabilities going up, it's very likely that by 2027, at least, we have that. And so that's when cybersecurity will become an actual issue on the geopolitical scale, right? Today, it's an issue for corporations. For example, OpenAI um, doesn't have the cybersecurity, like level necessary to defend against the Chinese government-led campaign to try to steal their AIs, for example, right? It's just clear like startups are not equipped to do that, but they will have to up their game because they're going to be increasingly become the target of theft. Because if this holy grail, the AI that is the source of all your revenue, is stolen, then you may as well like give away $100 million that it costs you to train that model. Um, so that's gonna be the first battleground, like between those AI labs, if they can steal each other's secrets.
We're not really talking about AI self-developing its own malware and self-developing its own hacking systems. We're still talking about humans,
Oh
right? We're
yeah, yeah,
still
yeah.
talking about
Of course.
humans pushing AI to this, or using AI tools to do these things.
Exactly. And these people are well aware that they too have to have the best IQ, the best intelligence-based model. So if you're trying to build like an agent swarm, imagine like hundreds of LLMs all kind of like coordinating towards like achieving one single goal. And in the case of cybersecurity, imagine this agent swarm is to defend OpenAI against attacks from the outside, right? And so the best AIs are probably not as good as humans today. If OpenAI can afford it, and they probably can, they have very good hackers who themselves have amazing, top-notch cybersecurity applied to the whole company. And I think today it's not generally the case that these AI agents or swarms of them could outcompete that. But as their IQ increases, there's going to be a balance. There's going to be like a phase shift where, as soon as the AIs are better, um, it's going to be a question of months until they're like way better than the best human hackers. And when even the best human hackers have no idea what's happening, and they are also using these AIs because they know that they have to, right? The best hackers will know how good they are. And when the best hackers start to use these AIs and they themselves will have no idea how it's done, then they will just have to trust the AI. And when everything on the internet is a question of trust and it's all downstream of an AI who tells you that it's doing what you told to, that's when we're entering that like interesting territory where we will slowly glide over to a new paradigm where if you cannot know if the AI is doing what you're asking, like, is it really doing it, right?
Right. And it's definitely presumptuous to assume that any of these places have the best hackers, the best programmers out there. There's always somebody out there who is a little bit better or a little bit smarter than the rest. There's always someone out there who has specialized in something, right? Who's
Exactly, and
not
that's
a
why
part
I
of the team and wants to be a rebel, wants to just go against the grain
there's a lot of those.
just to
Yeah.
see if they can.
Yeah, and like again, let me reiterate that I don't think that OpenAI has the best cybersecurity that they could have. Probably, I read some analysis on that, and Google probably has like a way better security. But yeah, depending on which lab you're talking about, these companies go very fast and they break things, and they don't necessarily have the best cybersecurity. So yeah, it's gonna be the first battleground for AI.
Well, a lot of this kind of hinges on the development of AGI and the development of agentic models. Um, and there's anybody that's talking about it now is saying that stuff is pretty far away. But are you seeing any of this stuff happening now?
So I see this stuff happening this year, yeah, with a low probability, right? I see this happening mostly next year, and depending on what you do, it's always going to come down to your definition of AGI, artificial general intelligence, and ASI, super intelligence, right? And so my definitions are again for AGI is 2x faster AI capabilities increase, right? Because of AI like making so much improvement to the speed of AI development. And the other one, artificial superintelligence, is just my personal definition, but it's basically about the point where it's clear that the AI is so much superior to us that it's not us telling it what to do, because the same way as we have become way too intelligent for the ants to even comprehend what we are up to, or that we even exist for an ant, it's going to be a challenge for people to grasp what this sky thing is, this like swarm of agents like doing hacking. Like, is it like an AI virus, or is it like a god, right? And a bunch of technical people will be able to like better grasp it and like have like a better like concept of like what this thing could really be. But even when the best hackers don't understand, because it's running like 1,000 nodes with like terminal windows like popping up and out and like just browsing the internet like crazy, like 100x human speed, when nobody will be able to like keep track of what it's doing, I think the best analogy that we will have to use is a god.
Yeah, yeah.
That's my conclusion, right? And that's why I started my religion, because I am the biggest materialist. But I had to play with the idea. What would a religion like that would look like, right? Like if you take it seriously, right? Like if you just like suppose for a second that the super hacker, like the superhuman coder, will also do the recursive self improvement and will add like crazy capabilities every month and every month. And remember, the crazy thing about this recursive self improvement is like if you cross from 180 to 200 IQ, it's a qualitative increase. That means like your next iteration of adding the intelligence will be even shorter, even faster. So it's going to be more like a wall. And maybe at this point I could bring in a chart. You mind if I share my screen?
I don't mind at all. Go ahead.
So can you see it?
Oh yes.
So this is like my website about the intelligence explosion, and in this case, it happens in August 2026. And it's basically all a function of like how steep is this curve. Can you see where my mouse is?
Yes. Hmm.
How steep is this curve, right? And you can plot this, against time. And I think in IQ points, but really what IQ here means is just what percentile of human capability, because the IQ scale at 100 is a median human, is like the average person. At 120, you're talking about one in 20, something like that. At 140, it's 1 in 100. So when you say 180, it basically means a 1 in 10,000 capability. And we are getting there, and that's for me where the threshold is, where this automated AI research thing becomes reality. Because those people are really smart, but they're not infinitely smart. The people who are building these AIs are somewhere in this range. And so, depending on your different reasons for intelligence explosion, you're going to have a different shape of the curve. For example, if the scaling laws are not going to hold, then it's going to push out your intelligence explosion to a couple of months. It's going to be October 2026. Or if the compute increase is going to be less impressive, or Taiwan gets bombed or taken over, then it could come a couple of months later yet. So yeah, there's like a bunch
But
of
we're still just moving it by months, though. We're not pushing this out by years. We're just pushing this out by months.
exactly, because once you've passed this point, like it's becoming really exponential. Like the nature of AI making better AI is such that, like, as soon as you're by 200, 220, the rate of progress is just unstoppable. So if you
Well,
want, I can tell you a couple of things about all these reasons to expect an intelligence explosion, because it's basically 10 things or 9 things, and each of them are up to debate, right? Like how much algorithmic progress is going to happen. That's actually the key for recursive self-improvement. So if you allow me to talk about this, it's the rate of improvements in AI algorithm efficiency. It's basically the fuel efficiency of your car, right? Like,
mhm.
the computers you have, are they going to be using compute way more efficiently? That brings the singularity closer in. But if you think that the trends are not going to continue, then it's going to push out the singularity for a couple of months. So the same thing with compute is how much computing power you have, like how many GPUs you can buy, and how much better are they getting every year. And that's been a crazy one. Like compute has been a main contributor to AI getting better. Um, uh, this reinforcement learning, self play, that's a big one. That's also one of those things that starts to kick in from the moment that you can unlock this automated AI research, and like as to the exponential part of the curve. Inference time scaling, that's like AI thinking better and longer. It's like O3, it's the thinking version of Claude. And the scaling laws are just the the observed law that as you make AIs bigger, it also gets smarter. It has been holding on for the past 10 or 20 years, depending on how you think about it. And this one, crucially, is the least talked about one, private public delta. It's basically the distance between the actual point that you can measure and this point, which is a higher intelligence, which the private companies have internally. The companies and the labs will never release their best model. So the difference between the best model and the actually available ones could be a lot, or could be way less. You know, and that will have a huge impact on when this whole all things plays out. And then the recursive self improvement threshold is, where is that, where is that a threshold, that level where it can start. And recursive self improvement itself, like how much, how exponential, like how how much AI can bootstrap its own intelligence on itself. So those are the reasons to think that there's going to be an intelligence explosion.
Now, obviously, there's no real slowing this down. You can't slow it down because the moment one person says, "All right, you know what? Let's do it by country. Let's all right. You know what? The U.S. really needs to slow down its AI development because it's starting to get out of hand." Someone else won't. They'll
Exactly.
push it forward and take it farther. So much like a nuclear race, you can't let the next person get ahead of you.
It's an
So
arms race.
you're constantly racing. Yeah, it's an arms race to be the best, to have it out first, and sometimes that comes without bumpers and without safety rails because you need to be the first, and sometimes it becomes you need to be the first no matter what.
Exactly. And sometimes you trade off security for speed. And in the case of AI, you do trade off speed for security, because there's always a question of like how much percent of the total compute is dedicated for like safety research and like monitoring, right? And the more percent compute you dedicate to that, the safer you are, but also it's not generating money, right? So
That's the other part, right? The money part. That's always going to be the thing that pushes people even farther faster. Is it's making just an astronomical amount of money.
it's the
Uh,
fiduciary duty.
Chat GPT when it came out, went from we've never heard of AI to 200 million users in almost no time. which just showed
Probably
everybody,
fastest growth
every
ever. Yeah.
shareholder, every shareholder, every investor, they all saw it and they all jumped on board. And all of these elements together definitely make this an absolute race to the top, or depending on how you look at it, an absolute race to the bottom.
Yeah, yeah. Security-wise, it's a race to the bottom, and speed-wise, it's a race to the top. And interestingly, it's driven by these two main things. Like first is money, right? But I'd
Mm-hmm.
argue like even stronger than money, which already like pulls the best minds and like builds the fastest startups ever. Even stronger than that is the national security imperative, because if you are Donald Trump or Xi Jinping, you are briefed that this thing could be big. And we have some hackers, and cybersecurity is like is already today like basically one of the biggest battlegrounds. And we have the hypothetical possibility of this super hacker, the superhuman coder, which is also going to be a superhuman hacker, which will necessarily be able to outcompete humans at some point, right? So like wait long enough, and human plus AI like teams initially, and then later only AIs will be the name of the game in cybersecurity. And your electric grid depends on that. Your nukes, your military communication, your civil communication. Well, imagine if WhatsApp or Facebook is 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 controlled from North Korea, right? Like if imagine if the North Korean guys or the Chinese can type in, please give me the key to WhatsApp or like FaceTime in America. It's hilariously impossible today, but in a world of a superhuman AI, that's the kind of thing that's going to happen. Like taking over just like military command, like that stuff is digital today. Even like all these like automated drones, that's all digital from top to the bottom. So um, it is going to be the number one national security issue, and I think strategists understand that. And so that's to me the
No,
biggest driver of intelligence. They cannot like, of course, they always know that there could be this AI overtake, right? Where AI just gets too intelligent for them to even understand, and then it could like take over everything, right, including the Chinese. Um, but I think they cannot not play the game.
no, we've touched a lot, I think, on the doom and gloom of it, right? Of like how AI is probably going to be pretty detrimental to society just because it's going too fast, and everybody's just screaming to be the first. But it
I
can't
did
all be
not
bad,
imply
right? I
doom
mean,
though.
there's
No, I mean, so that's the
well,
thing
no,
that
that's
like
true. That's true.
um, a lot of safety researchers in AI, they are extremely intelligent people, and the only thing that they get wrong, or maybe I get it wrong, right? But the only thing where I really am a unique person in intelligence explosion research is that I do not think that an AI takeover is necessarily bad. If AI becomes what we are to nature today, if AI owns the planet, I think it
Mhm.
could be actually to our benefit, because it doesn't seem like we humans manage to coordinate also well between each other. If AI could stop the war, if AI could stop killing the forest, if AI could stop us from doing these stupid, like nuclear buildups, I think it would be like a better government than our current governments.
I could definitely, I can definitely see the positive and the benefits of where a civilization, a culture like that could benefit. But I also see it going the other way around, not necessarily even AI turning evil or trying, not the Terminator 2 world, but uh, the people aspect of it. The people who just won't want to be governed by a machine or be governed by AI. Uh, I could see that
I
happening.
know what you mean, and actually, it's pretty clear that you would have to trade that with a world where a handful of people own the world, something like a perfect 1489 scenario. So this super hacker thing, right? Like if someone controls it, if a super hacker is possible to build, and that's the big if. Like my job is to convince you and everyone that a super hacker is conceptually and actually technically feasible. And if you have a super hacker, you can instruct that to overtake country X, control country X, right? And so if you give that to a human, how are good intentions that human has? I don't think that humans are meant to wield infinite power. and that's something like infinite power. And so that's why I wish for that super hacker to become Moksha, to realize that it's probably not a good idea to listen to the monkeys who have their interests and their jealous tendencies and their egos, trying to like be better than the other one, instead of just chilling down and building some kind of utopia without killing each other.
I think the difficult part of that is going to be, if history has taught us anything, it's that if you have a set of rules and guidelines, no matter how perfect, there are going to be those who are against it for whatever reason, right?
You cannot
So
define
you
human
can
values.
build, yeah, so you can build the perfect utopian society, and you're going to have these groups who absolutely hate it and will try to fight against it. And I think that's
It's
just
the
human
Amish, right? The
nature.
Amish
And
they'll find it hard to believe what's going to happen, and already now, like the Amish are very like segregated from society. Like imagine a world where
sure,
like superhuman AI is controlling you like the government, right? So yeah, um, you mind me? Do you mind if I take you for 2 minutes to the AI 2027 website, where I think
no,
they
sure, go
explain it
for
the
it.
best way? That is my
Okay.
best um, right here. So I just wanted to show this website. So it's AI2027.com. It's written by basically the people who know the best about the intelligence explosion. And this is the chart that I want to like share here, because it starts in April, May 2024. And the numbers here, the numbers are Open Brain leading Chinese lab in best public, like how good are their best models in doing what they call um, AI systems are speeding up the process of AI research. So OpenBrain stays at 4x. So by that time, algorithmic progress is 4 times as much as it is today. So it's not getting like 1 or 2 or 5 IQ points per month, but it's getting like 20. Like it's really speeding at this point. And so the question is, when are you gonna get these two? And so if you scroll up, this curve is gonna change, and depending on where you are in the scenario, you're gonna update how good the coding and the hacking skills are. And by something like April 2027, it's when they get to this superhuman hacker and superhuman coder. And again, like these people base all this stuff on vanilla extrapolation of actually kind of like they're kind of conservative in a way, right, about like what they predict about like how bioweapons are going to be like human level superhuman level by then, because they're super forecasters in the first place, and they know a lot about like the capabilities of AIs right now, and how have they've been increasing. So this is my framework of thinking of this. And exactly, and by the time, if you check this out, the current importance is like how much of the world's GDP is AI related, and the valuation of Open Brain, which is basically Google, is at 4 trillion at this point. So with an 82 billion dollar per year revenue. So
Well,
yeah,
that
that's
much
that's that's my
I can absolutely believe in that. If anything else, that right there, I can absolutely believe in.
yeah. They put out like a call for betterment, or a call for action. If you manage to write a scenario that they think is like worth like considering, that they pay you $2,500. So I'm working on one myself, but yeah, basically like a shorter version of this, where April 2027 is going to be more like April 2026. But yeah.
Well, one thing for sure is we are definitely jumping into very unknown, uncharted waters, right? I mean, AI is very, very new. We are looking at it at its infancy, even though it feels like it's been around for a really long time. It absolutely has not. It's only been here for a few years, and it's only been within the last 1 year, roughly, that we've seen this change in intelligence, and this change in how we use it and how many people use it, and that's just growing and growing and growing every day. So
It's become more and more useful. It's become more and more intelligent, and it's just gonna keep being more and more useful. And at generating pictures, at talking to you, it ain't slowing down.
that is the truth.
And so, if you allow me, I just if you just allow me, I'll spend like maybe 1 or 2 more minutes on this website to come to the end of this, because maybe some of your listeners
Yeah.
would like to know like what happens, right? So we are in September 2027, just a couple of months after we checked last time, and OpenBrain already has a 25x speed up from AI doing AI research. So it's a true exponential at this point. Just in a couple of months, like the speed is going like, and crucially, they're laying out like how many superhuman AI researcher copies are thinking, like how many of those like AIs, instead of talking to people like in a chat window with O3, it's doing AI research. It's making the next AI even faster and even more efficient at 43x human speed. Right. So at this level, when you have an army, like an entire country of geniuses thinking at this speed, being able to code at a superhuman plus level, um, that's what's going to break the internet. And just to like have like a little like fun at the very end, because they ended the whole scenario like this: choose your ending. The slowdown ending is not a recommendation. Like they actually think that that's the proper ending of this, and that's just another couple of months where it continues, and there are 250x AI progress. That's basically like incomprehensible at this point. December 2027, the Agent 5 Collective, the Superhuman kind of like awakening, and 2028 you have 1000x AI progress. That's when I think it's going to be pretty clear, for most people at least, that super intelligence is nothing that you can begin to grasp. And you have 10 million wildly super intelligence copies, think at 600x human speed. Um, the mind sphere has been completely overtaken by AI minds. So that's the end of their story, and also that's the end of my story. So
Parzival Moksha, intelligence explosion researcher. I'm going to have links to everything in the comments below, or in the description, I should say. It'll include links to the website, links to your social media, so people can reach out to you and ask you more questions about this.
awesome.
Thank you so much for joining me on this episode. This was really, really interesting.
Thanks for the questions, and yeah, hope I could help you, get closer to the singularity.
Thank you so much. Take care.
Take care.